Hello everyone and welcome to episode 5 of our weekly FPL show. Gameweek 3 was an eventful one to say the least, with injuries, red cards and some unexpected results. Tonight on the show we'll be discussing some of the hot topics from the game week, and that will be including whether we should just leave the captaincy on Salah for the season, set and forget on the captaincy. We're going to be talking about Richarlison replacement options after his red card and his upcoming 2-game Premier League ban. We're going to be looking at Alonso and discussing how essential he is, and then we're going to talk about what we're going to do with all our Man United assets. And then finally, we're going to preview Game Week 4. So, Kieran, a lot to get through. How are you?
Yep, good, thank you. Yeah, lots stood out this week. Some unexpected results, we say, with the City draw and drawing against Wolves, and then Spurs smashing United. I think I read a stat where City haven't. This is their first failed away win in the Premier League since February last year, so it's kind of mental. But yeah, Wolves did well to get anything from that game. So yeah, well done to them.
Yeah, I think we'll start there tonight because it was the Saturday lunchtime kickoff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
quite an exciting game, and
yeah,
Wolves did really well. I mean, it was interesting because Jota was one of the players who a lot of people got rid of last week because he had 46 minutes, but I thought he was an integral part of their front three at the weekend, although he didn't make any returns. What do you think of their team in general?
Just in general, good. Obviously the goal shouldn't really have been a goal. He was arguably offside. Couldn't really tell, honestly, on that one, but obviously handball as well.
Yeah.
But Jimenez put it in, offside before that. To about 5 minutes before, he looked really lively, and Wolves just, went up against them, just took it to City, and they look good. That's what teams should start doing instead of just parking the bus, because that seems to rarely work against City. So, yeah. What do you think?
It was definitely a surprise result. I think quite a lot of people, including myself, were really contemplating Aguero captain for this one.
Yeah.
He was like the width of the post away from scoring 2 goals because he had a chance then in the first half, hit the post. He had that free kick right in injury time which hit the crossbar.
Yeah.
So on another day he gets 2 goals and 3 bonus, but obviously at the weekend it was an unusual game for City in that their point scorers were such lowly owned players, probably 2 of the most lowly owned players in their team. Really. I don't think many people are on Laporte, and especially Gundogan as well. I think Fernandinho would even be probably a more popular pick than he is, but with De Bruyne out, he's got a chance to get some returns, I think.
It kind of seems to me that Laporte seems to be nailed on at the moment. He started all the games. He, along with maybe 5 others, seem to be nailed on in that 11. It seems. I think it's Mendy, Edison, Mendy, Laporte, Fernandinho, Gundogan and Aguero. And then the rest are just, who knows? They seem to be just rotated all day, basically. But the general rule seems to be if they've been benched the game week before, if you've got them, they'll probably start the next game week. Obviously, that isn't always the case, but that seems to be what happens. Like with Walker and Sterling getting benched, they started this game. But you just don't want to see really expensive assets getting benched, but that's just City for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was having the dilemma all week with Bernardo Silva, whether to take a 4-point hit, because I'd already made my transfers. I'd already got rid of Eriksen for Richarlison, so I could upgrade Peltier of Cardiff to Alonso, and I was really contemplating Bernardo Silva to Mkhitaryan. So him coming off just after the 60th minute in that game, I was a bit disappointed, but I've kept hold. One of your transfers this week was to bring in Edison. Were you disappointed with, obviously you were disappointed with the clean sheet loss, but no save points?
What can you do? It was a tough game. Molineux seems to be a hard place. All the Wolves fans are up for it. And they just went at them. So, obviously I bought Edison in for clean sheets, and he is going to get them. So one game without one, so be it, I suppose. Mendy got bonus after not really doing much, so you can't really complain too much.
That was a bit of a surprise, wasn't it? The Mendy bonus.
It was. Yeah, would have thought Laporte, well, I think he maybe did get some, and Gundogan would clean them up, and obviously, and then the Wolves players that got the goal involvements, but not Mendy. I didn't think he'd get any.
It was an interesting game from the point of view and how exposed City looked. I don't think looked, which is really rare for them away from home. Like you said, they had a really good record before this, but I thought Company looked quite shaky. And Wolves,
he did.
Wolves got in behind a couple times, or quite a few times really. So it'll definitely be interesting to see if Pep sticks with Company or he brings Stones back in, really.
I think he'll bring Stones back in, personally. Company just had a bit of a shocker. Just looked all over the place, some really reckless challenges and getting caught, just leaving Edison one-on-one with the striker. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. But
we'll talk more about the Man City assets, I think, when we do the preview for Game Week 4, because I think obviously they've still got a great run of fixtures. It's an off day for them. They're quite heavily owned, but I mean, it's not likely they're going to have many sort of 2 and 3 point returns the rest of the season. So I think that's generally also why the overall average was quite a little bit lower than it has been the previous 2 weeks.
Yeah, true.
There's a lot of City assets are really heavily owned. So
what are you going to do with Silva, by the way, Bernardo?
It's an interesting one. So when we get onto the preview later, he is one of my potential options to get rid of this week, but I've already made my transfer. I don't really want to take a 4-point hit still to get rid of him, because Mkhitaryan and Ramsey were possible replacements. But at the moment, I'm quite content to keep him in the fact that he's starting, and he wasn't. I think it's in the previous 2 games he hadn't been taken off. I think he was taken off away at Arsenal. He wasn't taken off at home to Huddersfield. So if he's on the pitch, then he's obviously still got a chance of getting some attacking points. And for a -4 to get rid of him when they've got such a good run of games and he's starting seems a bit unnecessary at the moment.
Other issues to tackle.
Yeah. So the first of the 3 o'clock games we're going to look at is Arsenal against West Ham. 3-1 to Arsenal in the end. Really bright start from West Ham. I should start by saying Arnautovic was a real hero. So I watched much of the game, and he looked such a threat forward. Everything, all his move. He's not the quickest, but the runs he makes are so precise. And he was getting found really well by Anderson Silva, who I thought had a really excellent game. So for 7 million with Arnie potentially out, I think he could be a really good shot. I think they've got Wolves up at home next, but after that they do have some tricky fixtures. But I was impressed with Arnie, and I think West Ham lost a lot of momentum after he went off with that injury. So touch wood, it's not too bad. And,
I imagine he'll be fine personally, but he seemed to like kind of run off knocks last season when he sort of seemed to go off, and he seemed to just be fine for the next game anyway. But remains to be seen, obviously. But yeah, he did look really good. Bit jealous not to own him.
He had three what I consider big chances, so shots in the box that he could have scored from, as well as the goal. So yeah, I think he's the main man in that West Ham team, and if they're going to have any sort of decent finish this season, I think he's going to be crucial to it. So for 7 million.
Yeah, they need to start picking up points as well, don't they? Three losses so far, with only 2 goals scored, I believe. It's not great viewing for them at the moment, but their attacking assets are still looking quite interesting.
I think they're the only team in the league that haven't got a win yet. I think that's right. Oh, sorry, I've got 0 points. Sorry,
right?
From their first 3. But So I think one of the big talking points from the Arsenal side of things is your man, Aubameyang.
Yeah, I thought he was going to Obama bang this weekend, but that did not happen. That has happened 3 out of the 3 game weeks so far. 2 points just lingering there, annoying me. But it's the hope that kills me, I suppose. I need to keep him in for their upcoming fixtures, and now he's dropped as well, which seems a bit bizarre. I don't know why people are kind of getting rid of him. Yeah, he's not showing the form, but his fixtures are so good that when he does score, I think he's just going to start, kick in and start scoring loads. He's that good of a player that he's just you can't really sleep on him, I don't think. he'll rise as soon as he scores like maybe 2 and then in the Cardiff game or something.
Yeah.
He'll rise straight back up to 11 and then possibly go again because people will see their fixtures being so good. Obviously now it was probably a mistake to get him in from the start, but that's hindsight. I can't do anything about it. It did look good on paper, well not on paper, but with his fixtures. But I thought he's a great player. He'll probably get a goal or 2 possibly, but never happened.
So I'm sure there's going to. Oh, sorry.
No, carry on.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in your situation. So you are feeling now that you want to keep him and stick with him for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, absolutely. Not getting rid of him.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, until Wildcard, at least, which I don't think I'm going to be doing for maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
I suppose he's dropped in value, obviously, 1, because he's not returning, but 2, because there's so much value in the striker, mid and defence position, which aren't premium players at the moment.
Yeah,
if you compare
compare
his returns to Alonso in defence or Mendy defence, or even Robertson, really the 3 of them.
Yeah,
you've got these mid-price midfielders scoring well, and then you've got like I say, Arnautovic, Zaha,
Mitrovic,
Wilson, Mitrovic up front. So there's more affordable, cheaper alternatives. So it's just a bit unlucky, really.
Yeah, like I said, it's just the hope of him getting a hat trick. Like you can just see it. He's that good, but he's just the second I get rid of him, the second he gets that.
Yeah.
So, tough.
So we were talking the other day, weren't we, about Van Aanholt?
Yeah.
Is there any part of you which thinks, okay, I want to get rid of Van Aanholt and move to an Arsenal defender based on the fact that Bellerin delivered 2 assists, Monreal got his goal? They're obviously getting far forward, not keeping clean sheets.
Yeah, we haven't actually talked about this, but I have been thinking about Monreal more than Bellerin, because Monreal just, whenever he plays, he just gets goals, doesn't he? It's just, he's weird in that way. And then he'll get a bonus as well, of course. It's just going to, whether he stays fit, which when he is fit, he will usually play. But Bellerin, I went off against him last week. I said he would just look so awful. Yeah,
you slagged him off, yeah.
And he didn't look that great defending-wise this week again, but he did provide some decent returns. So I would prefer Monreal, I think. But if they probably will start getting clean sheets, and if they can do that, then if you're getting Bellerin or Monreal, both seem like a good choice to get returns. Then you're going to get Alonso level 11s and Mendy level 13s and 15s each week. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Definitely tempted, but Van Aanholt's got great fixtures as well. I think it'll be a bit of a side grade to go Monreal from Van Aanholt. I think I'd want to possibly downgrade Van Aanholt to someone to upgrade somewhere else. Remains to be seen how Van Aanholt does in the next few games. I think.
Monreal is 5.5. Is that right? Bellerin dropped to 5.4. I think, but Monreal like you say, had a great end of the season last season. He loves getting forward. He loves getting on the end of crosses coming in late at that far post. So I think like you said, if you're looking for a bit of a differential almost in that Arsenal defence for these runner games, I think one of those two can continue their form in this Emery system, and they'd be a good investment, I think, especially if you're looking. They're basically that tier just underneath Alonso, Robertson and Mendy, so I think if you can't afford to upgrade to them, I think they're a good intermediate, really.
I mean, lots of defenders are getting points, like Holobas are getting points, Pereira's, Chilwell's, there's loads of value in defence at the moment. And Bertrand with his really nice finish the other day.
That's a good goal.
Yeah, so take your pick, really, at the moment. Just so many options.
We should probably just touch on the bonus points issue from this game before we move on, because Welbeck came on for the final 10 or 15 minutes. I think he picked up 3 bonus points.
Yeah, strange.
Bit of a surprise. I was obviously gutted with that because Fabianski was on for maximum bonus points. Welbeck came on, obviously scored the goal, and it changed around. Fabianski ended on 1, managed 9 saves, which is his sort of style, I guess, from last season. Just constantly parrying shots away, and the fact they're still getting beaten 3-1, ending on 5 points is quite nice. But I think there's been a few instances over this weekend of the bonus system just not, I don't know, just leaving or having a few question marks against it. I think.
Well, luckily like in the Palace game, Zaha had full bonus when he did nothing. He was on the losing side. Yeah, he scored a goal, had a yellow card, but he was on 3 bonus, which made no sense at all. But luckily that got taken away from him.
Yeah.
I think he ended up on none. So I think that's just because that just made no sense for him to be on full bonus. But Welbeck coming on and he's not even the match winner, is it?
Not even the winning goal.
No, it's just strange. He just scored. He probably didn't do much with passing or key passes or anything like that. He just got 1 goal.
That's mad. Yeah,
just FPL need to sort it out or scrap it, I think.
Well, in the Watford Palace game as well, we had the issue where, I mean, Zaha didn't get 3 bonus, but Sacco got 2. So he was a central defender in the losing team and still didn't even get a goal. I'd say the goal was more anyway. It's a big discussion. I'm sure it will come up again over the season because I think a lot of people have been complaining, especially on Twitter, about just the inconsistency in performance related to bonus from a stats point of view rather than.
They might need to do little videos on bonus points like they tried to do for assists.
Yeah. So moving on to Bournemouth 2, Everton 2. I think the big issue coming out of this one obviously was the Richarlison red card. Firstly, did you think it was a red card?
Yeah, you can't do silly things like that. There wasn't much in it really, but doing anything like that, he's going to get sent off.
Yeah.
Just stupid by him. Got no one to blame but himself.
Yeah. So he was really heavily owned. He was one of my transfers going into the weekend, as I say. We both have him. You've had him from the start.
Yeah.
Reaping rewards. We should probably discuss, because a lot of people will be in a similar situation if they've not acted already, who to get rid of him or what to do with him, essentially, whether we get rid of him or you keep him on the bench.
Yep.
What's your approach been?
Well, mine has been to get rid of him, like to the obvious replacement. We'll obviously talk about it later, but the obvious replacement seems to be Walcott. He hadn't rised at that time, 6.5, so we're gaining 0.1 off Richarlison's rises. And I kind of still wanted to get some of the Everton attack. I wanted to cover that still because they are scoring goals, even without Richarlison. So, and they still have good fixtures. So I wanted to go for Walcott. That he just seems to be in form. He's a bit of a classic FPL troll, but he's in form. When he is playing, he usually returns. So, yeah. What about you?
Well, we had the conversation on Saturday, didn't we? Because Walcott was going up in price. I've been a fan of Walcott. Said it before. I like Walcott. He scores goals. He's got a good FPL history, and I think if Richarlison, obviously Richarlison had a great start to the season, but they're both operating in a similar way for Everton. They're both playing sort of wide players who are getting involved, getting into the box, having shots, and I think Walcott's goal was a prime example of what he brings to Everton against Bournemouth. He broke on the last defender right hand side of the penalty area, and it's just a nice finish. And I think with the home fixtures he's got coming up, Huddersfield, who have had a pretty poor start to the season.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd say at least the clean sheet point is banked there. You're at least taking home 3 points.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I think with Everton's attacking players, I think they've definitely got enough to score a goal or two against Huddersfield. And then following that, they've got West Ham, and West Ham have been so poor defensively. Well, it seems like once they're a bit like Man United in the fact that as soon as they concede one, they implode a little bit. So to concede 4 goals against Liverpool, 3 against Arsenal, and then 2 against Bournemouth, it's quite a lot at this stage of the season. So I'd back Walcott in those 2 games. So I'm like you, I made that transfer early. Was there anyone else that crossed your mind before you made the Walcott transfer?
There's quite a few options, honestly. I mean, if you've got 0.5 or a little bit of money to spare, you can possibly go up to Gross, Grob or whatever from Brighton.
Yeah,
he did get benched the other day, but I think that was just because they were trying to, park the bus against Liverpool. But yeah, he's their talisman. He'll get you goals in good fixtures that are coming up. Yeah, he's one to look out for sure. And then there's Schürrle as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Or 5.9, 6. Yeah, he's actually got a 5.9, which is a really good price for him. He looked incredible against Burnley. He had something like 20 odd shots or something, which is crazy for an attacker. That's unheard of usually. Got his goal. Looked good. Looked really good, and he's cheap. Remains to be seen if he's definitely going to start every game. But I think after that performance, he will probably be starting. And then there's that a slight downgrade to 5.5 for Vieto. I'm not sure if that's pronounced correctly, for Fulham, who benched Sessegnon. And he got 2 assists, and he played the full 90. So if he starts the next game, I'm possibly looking at him for a Fraser replacement.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm getting rid of Fraser. This is the only time he's not returned. But if he continues to not return, then Vieto starting every game, then I'll be looking that way. Townsend's an option. He looks really threatening. He's always good. He's 6.0 as well, I think.
Yep.
And then if you've got even more money in the bank, you can possibly go up to Mora, who's 7.5, obviously, or 7.6 now because he's risen.
I have a feeling
he's
only 7.1, Mora.
Is that right?
I think I'm pretty sure I just looked at that a minute ago. I think he's even better value. More goals.
Yeah, if you've got the money in the bank, then sure. I don't think Son's going to be back for a while because they won their game the other day, so they're through to the quarters or semis in the Asian Cup. Son's not going to be back for a good few 2-3 weeks maybe. Lamela got injured in the warm-up for that United game, so Mora's nailed on at the moment, I'd say.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, the two maybe the 2 or 3 I'd highlight because you've done a pretty thorough job there. I think Pedro is an option. Still around 6. I think he's still 6.5, maybe 6.6 now. They've got 2 decent home. Or Chelsea have got 2 decent home games now. Yeah. They're playing Bournemouth and Cardiff back to back at home. And he played most of the game against Newcastle. Looked quite threatening. He had a good shot on target, missed another one. So I think he could be a good option. He's a different alternative to Alonso and Hazard if you can't afford either of those. And then going back to the Arsenal midfield conundrum, I think Mkhitaryan's played well and been unlucky not to get more returns because he had a couple of good shots on goal, some key passes on Saturday. So I think Mkhitaryan or even Ramsey with his history, I think could be some good options to replace Richarlison, really.
I mean, there's not many around the 6.5 now because Jota is kind of, who knows, not sure.
6.3.
Sessegnon's getting benched. Pedro, I don't know if he's definitely going to play, sort of thing. So you're possibly looking to either downgrade or upgrade from Richarlison or Walcott, obviously, the obvious one. Yeah.
I think he'll come back into my team somehow.
Who, Richarlison?
Yeah. I think so. Okay. Depending on how well Walcott does, I could see a double up there. It seemed quite well. They're getting some decent attacking returns, Everton, so it's not much outlay. But I'm quite set on 4 for free at the minute. So
yeah, in my eye, he's won't come back until a wildcard. If he comes back at that point, I don't know. Who knows? Because it's almost like he had this sort of drop off last year.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is going to be the catalyst for his drop-off again this year. So Silva's not going to let him get away with being really childish like that.
Yeah.
So, not sure. Keep an eye on him when he comes back.
I just wanted to pick up briefly on Fraser. You recommended him as an option. I thought he had a really good chance to give... Was it Callum Wilson? He played him in really nicely. I think Callum Wilson had like a chance in the box from like maybe 8 or 10 yards out and just skied it. So you could have had back to, 3 rounds of Fraser assists there. So I thought you were quite.
I think he was still involved. Still looked good. Like I'm not saying I'm getting rid of him, but at 5.5, I'm not expecting consistent returns.
No. But I think
just an option.
I think he's definitely a really good option still. So the next game I think we want to talk about, I don't know if we want to talk about it. Do we want to talk about it? Huddersfield and Cardiff. Kieran, you say something because I don't know what to say.
Just again from like last week that Cardiff can keep clean sheets against lower teams. That's great. Everidge didn't save a penalty. That's crazy. I expect him to save a penalty in every game.
Had a week off from the penalty saves.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, not much to talk about, really.
I think he's now the most valuable player per points in the game.
So,
I mean, it's amazing, really, because he never. And when I started playing FPL, I usually used to get two promoted 4.5 keepers and rotate them and check their home and away rotation and always play the home one because I'd expect to get save points and the odd clean sheet. So I mean, I haven't done that for years, but for anyone who's done that now, fair play and well done to you, because he's had such a great start to the season, back-to-back penalty saving game weeks, and then a clean sheet is really good. I think to show how bad Huddersfield have been, even I think they've only scored now 1 goal in their last 8 home Premier League fixtures. So if you've got any defenders who are coming up against Huddersfield in the next 5 game weeks, and keep them. And Cardiff, I think that they're struggling at scoring goals, aren't they? Really, I just think they're, like you said, they can keep a clean sheet, but creating chances and scoring is not their best.
Yeah, they're not going to get very far on just draws if they manage that.
Their next 3, I think, are not in this order, but I think they play City, Chelsea, and Arsenal. So I think it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, clean sheets will dry up.
Tough September for them. So should we skip right on by to Southampton against Leicester? So I was impressed by... Well, I say impressed. I was pleased for Harry Maguire's finish because I like Harry Maguire. So it was the late winner, wasn't it? He's owned by quite a high 15% of people. I imagine that's people just from the World Cup loving. Like, people are just picking Harry and they've gone brilliant. But he's done all right now. He got the goal in that game. He got a clean sheet last time out. I think he's 5'5". So
which is expensive for him.
It is, because you're really relying on his goal threat, and I'd be surprised if he scores more than 4 goals this season. Yeah,
and you don't expect him to score from outside the box either. You think he's going to get a header.
Yeah, header from across or a corner.
If he can, pick up that promise of goals, then it'll be a great choice.
Yeah.
But he always flirts with the goals. He gets good positions of headers, but last year he didn't really get many returns at all. He's quite good on bonus, but 5.5, there's just so many better options than him, I think. But Leicester do have okay fixtures, but they seem to concede quite easily. So if you want points from him, you need to get returns attacking wise, and that's very rare.
Do you want to talk about Maddison? Because he was one of your new signings, and just give me your thoughts on his performance.
Well, I didn't see too much about him, actually. Okay. He didn't do too much, but he looked okay. I'm expecting points to trickle in with him. He's still on corners, still on free kicks and stuff. So he's nailed on. He's not going to get replaced anytime soon. He's doing his job at the moment. Just hope he gets a return this weekend.
Has he had a price rise? Do you know?
Don't believe so.
So because he could be in the pot for Richarlison and replacements.
Yeah, I think people have just kind of gone off him because he didn't do much this week.
Yeah,
but he's a good option still. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how they get on at the weekend, if you can get back involved with the points. Because I think Vardy still out for another game or two.
Yeah, maybe one more week.
Yeah. Was there any other Leicester players that caught your eye, or?
Not particularly this week. Pereira and Chilwell still looking good, but not other than that, they're just options that you already know about. I think if you want to get them, get them. Not particularly.
There was quite a big rush during the last week because Ings scored his goal against Everton. Obviously, that promoted a lot of transfers in. He had a decent chance in the box, well saved by Schmeichel. I think it was in the second half of the game.
Yeah,
or maybe the first half actually. But I think Ings is still a decent option for people who are looking for any forward replacements. But like I said, I still think there's quite a lot of people ahead of him for not that much more money. I think we'll get on to Mitrovic a bit later, but Mitrovic only being I think he's 1.1 million more now. I think unless Southampton just look, I don't know, they don't look as well organised at the moment as Fulham. So I think whilst there's been a lot of interest and investment in Ings, I think there's still maybe a few more weeks to wait and see how he integrates with the team, what Southampton's form's going to be like, and if they're going to pick up under Mark Hughes, really.
I think he'll get goals, but I think it's hard to tell what his form's going to be like. I think he's going to be a bit inconsistent, just like Southampton, really. But yeah, Bertrand possibly an option.
He's expensive, isn't he?
He is expensive, annoyingly. But yeah, great finish for that goal. Saints have kept 1 clean sheet out of 3, I think, which were definitely clean sheet possible games for them, which is a bit disappointing for any owners that have maybe doubled up, because their fixtures did look good. Because last year a lot of people did double up their starting fixtures and they returned quite well. But this year not so much. Yeah, disappointing. Is what it is.
It is. I think Ings has got Palace away and Brighton at home next, so there are 2 more decent fixtures, I think, for Southampton and him, really, to prove that they're worth investing in. Obviously, they were scrapping around the bottom 3 for most of last season, so Mark Hughes yet hasn't done a lot to convince me that they're a lot better and worth investing in. So wait.
I'll be hoping for a Palace clean sheet in that game anyway. So I think Palace probably will do fine, and that they're going to be at home. So I think a clean sheet.
You'd probably be hoping for a couple of Zaha goals as well, wouldn't you?
No Zaha goals.
Maybe a few.
PVA can do bits, but without Zaha.
I'm not sure about that. I think a couple of Zaha goals would be quite nice.
He probably will, to be honest.
Liverpool, Brighton. Skip right on by Southampton, Leicester. Done. Liverpool, Brighton. Saturday tea time kickoff, wasn't it?
Yep.
Woo, 1-0.
Yep.
What did you think?
Bit of an off game for both teams, really, wasn't it? They just, no consistency, really, no cohesion. But yeah, Liverpool keeping clean sheets 3 out of 3, and that's a bit of a surprise with Liverpool, But but their defence looks solid. I don't see Lovren getting back in when he's fit. Yep. Gomez seems to be doing perfectly well with VVD.
He does, yeah.
Robertson getting the full 3 bonus again. Proper hero. Trent looked attacking as usual. Yeah. Salah, great finish. Really well worked goal. Brighton, yes, 5 at the back, probably 7 at the back at times. Gross getting benched for that as they wanted to park the bus. But yeah, not too concerned about Brighton. They looked all right considering Dunk was out. He's definitely one of their main defensive pieces. Balogun looked like a decent replacement. So Brighton could be good for some clean sheets in their decent run of fixtures coming up. What do you think?
Well, I think that Brighton played well. To be honest, I thought they defended well. They were sloppy to lose the goal from the sort of position where Liverpool like to win the ball. Ball back, high up, Milner. I think it was Milner to Mane to Firmino to Salah, and he just rolled it in. And I agree about their defence. I think that they're a really good option. That something I've been thinking about this since the Van. I think it's early, so I like to give players a chance to prove themselves before I make too many hasty decisions because of taking point hits and whatnot. But I've already started to think about the possibility of doubling up on Liverpool, and like you say, if Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, or Trent just continue in such good form, I'm quite happy playing 4-3-3 this season because I see quite a lot of value in defence at the moment with Liverpool playing so well. So at the moment, I've got Jota, for instance, not doing a lot on my bench. So I'd be more than happy to downgrade Jota to a £6 million player or a £5 million player around sort of the Fraser mould and buy Van Dijk or Gomez or Trent. And probably of the 3, I'd buy Van Dijk for the goal threat and the security of starts. But I think Liverpool playing so well at the moment, I don't think it's a risk to having 2 defenders.
So you'd have to play 5 at the back then, unless you're getting rid of Van Aanholt.
Get rid of Van Aanholt, and bring in Jota, I just think it seems like a good move. But,
I think it's just possibly too early to get rid of Van Aanholt. He's got great fixtures, but he is too expensive for not doing any money in sort of an average-ish team. 5.5's a lot, but But yeah, I agree. Trent double up seems good. I've seen quite a lot of people on Twitter doing that, and they're getting value out of it. Apart from Trent's, yellow card every single game, and his ability to not cross well. But
well, a lot of people were new on Mane because we obviously had the big discussion last week about how I was going to be getting rid of Eriksen. I was a bit gutted I hadn't gone Mane. You hadn't gone Mane at the start of the season either.
Yeah,
he rose like the proverbial salmon, didn't he, over the week? Because I think he's up to 9-8 now, and he's got 37% owners. So I think he's in the top 3 or 4 owned players in the game. So we'd said, but I mean, I'd said before from the Palace game on Monday, I didn't think he looked that dangerous. He had I think he had one shot over the bar before Salah played him in to round the keeper to get his goal. And because it was a Monday night televised game, everyone was like, "Oh my God, I need Mane right now." And his prices went crazy, and I was talking about getting the wild card. I was blinded as well, but I'm sort of glad that in a tough home game like the one they've had, because I think, to be fair, Brighton played quite well and made it difficult for Liverpool, that he didn't really have much of a sniff, and it was still Salah the main man to win the game for them.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased with that. And one of the talking points at the top of the show we discussed was whether Salah is just a set and forget captain, because now for 3 game weeks running, he scored 8, 9 and 8 points wise. He didn't pick up any bonus again, which is crazy considering it was the winner. Yeah. And you usually get winning goal bonus, but I think he was on for bonus until like the last 10 minutes, and he had like 2 or 3 shots in the last 10 minutes, and they were all off target, and that gets rated quite badly. So it was just like every shot he was having, his bonus was like drip, drip, drip. Okay, you've got none, and so it was a bit disappointing. But I mean, it is obviously a bit boring to play the game with one captain. But if you're looking for a consistent scorer, do you think people would be well within their right to? Or not well within their right, they'd have a good season if they just kept the captaincy on Salah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play it like that, then go for it. There's obviously going to be times when you're going to want to possibly change it up for someone who's got an absolute plum of a fixture.
Yeah.
But that may not, plan out how you intend.
Mm-hmm.
And Salah could just be the consistent guy and get returns against anyone, even in the top 6 games or whatever. He scored against them all last season. There's no reason he can't return in every single game. He's probably going to get rotated again around Champions League, but that didn't happen last year. But they've got more squad depth this time, so he can actually be rotated, which is a worry. But as long as you have your vice in a decent game, then fine, you can just keep it on Salah. It's definitely a consideration, but I mean, we'll probably talk about it later, but there's a plum fixture for Aguero this week. Yeah. So most people are going to be going for that. I've liked to reply to a few people that are talking about captain already on Twitter with the Admiral Akbar, or whatever he's called. GIF of him just saying it's a trap. And, Aguero has such great fixtures or history against Newcastle, but it's at this point that he's just going to troll everyone and get nothing. Whereas Salah will probably get a goal or an assist against Leicester, and you probably think you're stupid for ever going against him. Yeah.
It's funny because when you say about the potential of Salah being benched, I just think back to a game. I just get excited about the idea of Salah coming off the bench in like the 65th minute. Liverpool need some goals. All the defence is tired, and he just comes running on. He's like, "I'm going to score like 3 goals, guys." And I remember a game last season where I had Salah captain away at Stoke. I mean, Stoke were pretty poor. But I was gutted because he started on the bench that game and he came on about the 70th minute, scored 2 goals. And I actually think because he was on the pitch less amount of time, he didn't have much time to like fluff up his baseline bonus points. And I actually think he ended up on 2, maybe 3 bonus points that game. Could be wrong, but anyway, so I don't think Salah coming off the bench is all bad.
No, very true.
I'd take that risk.
It is a consideration.
Is there anything else you want to say on Liverpool or Brighton, or shall we move on to Sunday's games?
Keita looked good. Was another option. He's yet to return FPL wise, but I think he'll start coming in soon. He's looked good, but he's tends to be the assister of the assister. But Milner also was out. If you want to go that way, on penalties when he's on the pitch, corners seems to be getting loads of assists. Yeah, 5.5, I believe.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, cheap.
It's Fraser's sort of price. Okay.
Yeah. But I think I prefer to go double Liverpool defence if I was going to.
Yeah, the Milner, yeah.
Yeah.
To have Van Dijk or Trent or Gomez. How much is Gomez? Is Gomez 5 or 5.5?
I'd assume he's 5, but I haven't checked, actually.
Right. I don't know either, to be honest.
Yeah.
But we'll have to check that out. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
tweet about it later, guys. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to Sunday?
Yep.
Sunday. So Watford 2-1 against our favourites, Crystal Palace. So Zaha, obviously, I'm an owner. I think he got a really unlucky yellow card in the first half. He got fouled really badly beforehand. And then I had a feeling that the referee the fans were getting on the referee's back. And then Zaha won the ball. I didn't think it was excessive force. Anyway, regardless, he got a yellow card. And it seemed to really affect him as well, being challenged. Like, he didn't have a very good first half. And it took for maybe the second half to warm up. And I honestly thought Crystal Palace were very, very poor finishing. They had very poor finishing on Sunday. They had about 3 really good chances in the first half to score. They probably should have been about 2-0 up because Watford were awful in the first half. Watford came out and scored 2 quick goals back to back. Zaha pulled one back with a little, I think it was Meg's finish, wasn't it, on Foster. Just went through. Love it. And then, maybe it was Joel Ward who had a good chance near the end from a header, and it just went wide. So I think Palace Benteke. Oh, that's my head. What is he doing there? But I think Palace shouldn't, or people who've got Palace assets shouldn't be deterred by that result because I think they played very well. Very well. They're just unlucky.
Maybe not very well. Just
very well.
Okay. Just missed up some easy chances. Really, just improve on their finishing, and then you'll get returns from them. But yeah, just want to mention Van Aanholt again quickly. That he didn't jump for that second goal, Hollyback's goal.
He might have hit his head
back
though.
Post. Yeah, but show some passion. Jump, man. Strange. He might have been a little bit off-site, but could have just jumped. And then there was a sequence before where he just let the ball just be crossed in, and he was nowhere near the guy, and he just turned his back, and he was just nowhere near him, and just turned his back, just let the cross go in. I think they may have been really close from scoring from that or something. But I was just thinking, man, close him down, show some passion, show some attitude.
Yeah.
And that's the opposite of doing bits for me. And doing things like that, he's probably going to be way off bonus and things. And just he's worrying me. Him and Zaha need to start getting together and doing them bits because he's burning a hole in my pocket right now.
That 5.5, you're just thinking about how else you could spend it.
Yeah.
I think we've got to say well done to Watford. I don't want to sound like I'm bitter because they lost because I got no real say in the game, but Pereira's got another great goal, didn't he? 10%. He's got ownership now, which is quite high. I think he's 6-1 or 6-2 maybe now. And I think Watford, obviously 3 wins from 3, great starts to the season for them. But they've got, they could probably turn anyone over at them. They got Spurs at home next, and then followed by that they got United. So at least one of those will be a really easy victory. Has he impressed you, Pereira?
Yeah. I think I said last week that he possibly was a fluke because he didn't get 0. He got 0, well, not 0, but probably appearance points. But I don't know. He looks threatening, doesn't he? He does get into positions, and Watford are in good form.
Yeah.
So he's a good option as a Richarlison option, I suppose. If you fancy him, go for him. Why not?
Well, I think he's got the form at the moment, but I think the fixtures are a little bit against him this week. But I think he's all right there. There's no one else really from Watford that's doing it for me. Obviously, Deeney scored a goal, and I think did he get a goal and assist against Burnley? Yeah,
he did.
But everyone are turning over Burnley at the moment, including amazing segue Fulham. Kieran 4-2 to Fulham. Woo!
Yeah, good game by them. Very good game. The stats for Mitrovic were there, they were there to be seen. Yeah. He was his haul was waiting to happen basically. Should have seen it really. bit frustrating.
Well, he was peppering, wasn't he? The goal in both his first two games. He was unlucky against Palace, and he obviously got his goal against Spurs, but he was looking like a real threat.
Yeah,
I think he was the sort of player that you'd get in. I think after those first two games, if you had an issue, otherwise, I think most of the forwards were obviously still to prove themselves. I think Callum Wilson will obviously show some good form. A lot of people jumped on him, but now that Mitrovic has actually proved he can score and get an assist, I think his price is gonna rocket.
A lot of people got frustrated with King, didn't they? And went to Mitrovic instead.
Yeah.
And obviously a great move. But obviously King still did well. Who knows who's taking penalties in that team now? But if you did go to Mitrovic, it's 16 points. If you jammy captain him, you're getting big points.
Big points indeed. Yeah. Well, Burnley look strange, didn't they? Because I think it's this Europa League hangover. They seem to be really struggling. I mean, for Burnley to concede 4 goals, I think they conceded 25, something like 25 or 26 total shots in the game. I mean, that's just not a Burnley performance. So, I think for a small squad getting used to the Europa League, I think they're gonna struggle.
Yeah, they only signed 2 players, which is Joe Hart and Darren Gibson. That's not going to do them well enough if they get through to this group stage, because that's another 4 games at least, midweight games. You got to worry for Burnley at the moment. I think they're not going to be relegation or anything, but you worry for their clean sheets, which is their bread and butter. Tarkowski, though, 2 goals in 3 games. Interesting option. They will get clean sheets, but clearly not as many. If you want to go that way, this is the problem with them, is that the defense has gone up to 5.0. When they were 4.5, perfect, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
But now that they're all 5.0 in a team that don't really get many goals and stuff like that, not sure.
Well, I had Ben Mee most of the season last season, and he had great. He was a great threat from corners. His expected goals were high, and it's taken from this season for him to get an assist, so that's a bit irritating. But then, like I say, I think that if they stay in the Europa League, I don't know if they're going to have the squad to cope. I think they've got Olympiacos again this Thursday at home, and they need to recover from that 3-1 defeat, which is going to be difficult. So, obviously keep an eye on how that one pans out, and depending on how they get on, I think they could have some really tough game. If they're away from home on a game week where they played away in Europe, I think it's going to take it out of them. So, keep your eyes on the fixture list, I think, as we get around to it and see who they're playing, really.
I mean, they could possibly go out this weekend or Thursday. Then they will probably turn into good assets again. To ones to look at on wildcards if you've still got them, assuming they go out.
So before we move on, I just want to say about Arnautovic, for people like me who have got him, and obviously he picked up that injury. If he's not back in time for Wolves this weekend, and it's any longer than a week or 2, I am contemplating bringing in Mitrovic. But he does have some trickier games. I think they're away in their next 2. I think they go away to Brighton next, and then they go away to City. So I think they're not like the best run of fixtures, but he is Fulham's main man, isn't he, up front?
They're a bit intermittent, their fixtures. They're a bit of good and bad, good, bad, bad, good, bad sort of thing.
But for 6-5,
I
think you can get away with just leaving him. It's not like, I don't want to sass Aubameyang, but it's not like Aubameyang where you're expecting him to deliver every week. You'd be happy spending 6-5 on Mitrovic to maybe score once every 3 games or get an assist every 2. Do you know what I mean? I think you're quite happy with that.
Absolutely. I think they'll probably push on after that result as well. I think they'll feel confident. Yes, Schürrle looks so good as well. Vieto guy had a great performance. I don't see why they're not going to push on. Even Fosu Mensah at the back on loan from United, he looks quality. Seri with that absolute wonder goal. That was lovely. All good goals really. Fulham I expect to push on for sure.
Looking forward to seeing how they progress for the next couple of games for sure. So the big Super Sunday was Newcastle at home against Chelsea. Finished 2-1 to Chelsea. Kieran, how essential is Alonso at the moment? hot topic.
Yeah, I've got that in my notes. Essential question mark, and probably it should be an exclamation mark. I think he probably is essential. Obviously, he's 6.5, which is a lot for a defender, but he's not 7.0 like he was last year.
I think he might have gone up to 6.7 already.
Has he?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I saw he went up to 6.6, but didn't know he'd gone up to 6.7 already.
Yeah, 6.7. I just checked it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bandwagon you need to get on. I think 13, 11, and 11 in those 3 games. That's crazy points. I'm absolutely happy I got him in this week because he saved my game week. I would have been on about 38 if I didn't get him in, which would have been absolute shocker. Yeah, do we expect him to keep it up though? That's the thing. I'm not sure.
Well, I think he was getting into dangerous positions, wasn't he? Because both of his assists came from him being in the box. One, he got fouled for a bit of a suspect penalty. The second one, obviously, it hit someone and went in as an own goal. But I think it's really promising that he's continuing to get so far forward now. I think I was mainly put off by his position in the Community Shield. But I think just in hindsight now, that's just how well City played on that game and how unprepared probably Chelsea were playing in Sarri's system. But since then, they've had three good games. They've obviously played Huddersfield away, Newcastle away, and Arsenal at home, and he's just looked a threat. And with 2 home games now coming up against Bournemouth and Cardiff, then I just think you've got to get him. You have to. He is essential because if you don't and he scores, if he gets a clean sheet, I think at home against Bournemouth, his price is just going to keep going up and up. So if you can get on him before he gets to at least 6.8, 6.9.
Yep.
I think you've got to do it. I think he was the second highest point scorer in defender last season, and it looks like it's going that way again this season.
He's already about 6 or 7 points up the highest defender, which is really good, And it's not like this is a flash in the pan. He's done this before. He was the first person ever to get to 8 or 9 returns in a row last year or something.
Right.
Which was, either loads of clean sheets or assists or a goal, whatever. And, that's just crazy. It's just points.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. You just need him, I think. With their good fixtures coming up, if he can do it against Arsenal, which is obviously a tough game where they conceded 2, and he's still getting 11 to 13 points.
Yeah.
No-brainer, right?
I think no-brainer indeed. I think he's already on 32 point something. I think it's 32% ownership, which is already quite high. So, I mean, if he has another good return against Bournemouth, I wouldn't be surprised this time next week if we're looking at sort of 40%. I think he'll probably, depending on people's team structures, I think he could rise again this week and be 6.8 by the game week, because usually quite a lot of people make transfers on a Thursday, Friday, don't they? So,
well, do you think he's worth taking a hit again?
I guess it depends on what your other transfer is, but you'd expect them over the next 2. If you potentially save a transfer the next game week, I think it would make sense to get him in there because he definitely at least keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth or Cardiff. Despite, Bournemouth are quite heavy scorers. I think they've scored over 2.5 goals, or there's been over 2.5 goals in 19 of the last 25 Premier League games they've played, which is quite impressive. So it's goal fests they're involved in. And obviously they beat Chelsea at home last year, but I think he's got the potential at either end of the pitch to get something really.
Would you say wildcard for him as well? If you're not getting him in, if you've got a few other things to do, he's essential on a wildcard, isn't he?
I think he's essential on a wildcard, yeah. Especially for people who may have Richarlison red and maybe if Arnautovic is out. Maybe
Adam Smith possibly with another red.
Yeah. And anyone who's got is it Hammer in goal or Hamer in goal?
Yeah.
Aubameyang potentially. People have lost their temper with him. I think I think if I had my wild card now, he'd be the first name on it really. So I think.
What about Newcastle?
They scored a goal. They played fairly defensively. I don't know. It was just a bit uninspiring really. I think they were quite lucky to get that goal because it looked like a bit of a foul on Giroud. Elbowed him in the neck, and then David Luiz went to sleep. But I think they'll have games against teams in the sort of the bottom half or the middle of the Premier League table where they do a lot better. But it was a strange tactic. I don't know if you remember the game last season when Newcastle played at home against Man City, and they didn't show any real impetus to go at them. And I think that's such a shame for their fans, because I'm sure they'd love it if they were just a bit more gun ho and they were, I don't know, they had a team that were just prepared to take teams on. Look at Wolves. They've come up, they really took the game to, I mean, it's totally different in terms of funds and players and whatnot, but from a team who've come up recently from the Championship and took it to Man City, I'm sure the crowd would have been really up for Newcastle, at least starting fast.
You'd expect at home, like you're at home, you got your fans behind you, just go for it, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to make them have to watch you get 90% possession against you, and when you're at home, your fans are just going to be absolutely bored to tears. You know, it's not the way to play, really. But that's for them to sort out, hopefully. Their fixtures have been so bad that none of their assets have looked interesting anyway. So maybe when they change, Rondon might be somewhere to look at, but not sure.
They beat Chelsea last season as well, so it's just a strange one.
Yep.
At home. So the final game of the weekend last night, we watched it again, didn't we? From behind our fingers, really. Spurs beat Manchester United 3-0.
Yeah.
Old Trafford. So I guess the FPL talking points. So last week we talked a lot about United's problems, so we'll try and keep it FPL perspective only. Is the big talking point Lucas Moura, of course. So 7.1, 2 goals, max bonus last night. He's still on a relatively modest, as of today, 7.2% ownership. But that is going to shoot up. Like we said earlier, he's obviously scored a goal in a televised game, which is, oh my God, for FPL fans. Yeah. Son is away in the Asian Games. They got to the semi-finals, so I think Moura is quite cemented in that team for now. So I think he'll hold his place, really. Do you want to talk about, also, I think I'll just finish up by saying that on the Spurs side of things, I was obviously a bit disappointed because Richarlison was my transfer from Eriksen, so I could upgrade Peltier to Alonso. Yeah. And obviously it was a bit disappointing to see Eriksen score a goal, but I'm so much more happy with Alonso than I am with Eriksen. So do you want to talk about the Manchester United assets and what they mean to you?
Well, asset-wise, there's pretty much nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing that anyone is really looking at. Obviously, De Gea is usually great. 6 million this season when they're keeping 0 clean sheets. Yeah. And definitely, he's not even getting 2 points. He's getting 1. It's poor. I was all on for a Jones bandwagon at half-time, 0-0, because United actually looked quite attacking, kind of free a little bit in the first half. And I was thinking, when Jones and Smalling come in, they keep clean sheets. That's just what that sort of solid back four does. But obviously that evaporated pretty quickly.
It did. Yeah.
And then Shaw, he played one of his best games he's ever played for United, but no returns in FPL wise in a team that looks an absolute mess at the moment. If you've got him, I'd possibly think keep with him. But definitely don't go to him if you're thinking about him. Because fixture wise, United's are okay, but they can get beaten by absolutely anyone at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised when they go to Watford in a few weeks' time that they lose that. And then I think they've got Burnley coming up. I wouldn't be surprised if Burnley beat us. So whatever. Asset-wise, just stay away from United, I think. Lukaku looked really poor. Lingard ran, which is great. Nothing that doesn't look like he's going to return points. I think everyone's getting rid of Sanchez. He's probably going to drop like a stone. He'll probably start the next few games, but his price is probably going to go down to like 10.3, 10.2, I'd say. Keep away.
I echo all your thoughts completely, really. Like, touching on, I can't believe Lukaku's so expensive for what he looks like. Like, he obviously had a great season at Everton 2 seasons ago. It was pretty decent last season, but that chance he missed last night was just poor. He had so much more time than he thought, just rushing things. The whole United team just looks like everything looks a bit too frantic and a bit chaotic. Like, there's no structure to the build-up play. and chances. I mean, there was Lukaku. There was a nice bit of play. That I think the only decent chance of the second half was Sanchez laid a ball up to Lukaku. He won a header, knocked it down for Lingard. But again, it was intercepted too easily and went over for a corner. So I don't know. I just think that United at the moment, they haven't really got a structure on the style of play, and with the defence so up in the air, they're not really building any attacks from the back. I don't know. It looks a bit of a mess at the moment. So I think stay way clear of United assets at least. Well, until I think something major is going to happen. Jose drops a few main players, or the board drop him. I don't know.
Or he gets sacked.
Yeah, it just seems. It's strange. I don't like to get into too much hyperbole because at the end of the day, it's just 2 football matches lost back to back. I think the performance was good last night in the first half. I agree with Jose about that, but the second half, when they conceded 2 goals back to back, that strikes as just a real lack of discipline and awareness. And yeah, the third goal was just sort of waiting to happen because they were playing so openly just frantically trying to get the goal back. Really.
I wanted to pick up on Trippier, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Another assist, max bonus.
Yeah,
he looks great.
He does look good.
If he can be rotation immune, he'll be a great option. 6.0 though, quite expensive, but the value seems to be in defence so far.
It does.
Yeah, if you can get him in, then go for it.
It's just Aurier just smiling at him from the bench, isn't it? Like he might take his spot all the time. It's irritating.
I don't see how Poch sees it. Or he must see that Aurier is terrible. But then Poch seems to like to rotate anyway. But I think Trippier seemed to play all the games at the end of last season. He was immune to rotation. So if you can do that again, fantastic.
Because you got rid of Ben Davies on the other side, didn't you, for Alonso?
Yeah, I mean, I had a successful hit in the end. It was De Gea, Davies, and Jota for Maddison, Alonso, and Ederson. So it was a net gain of 11 in the end.
That's pretty good.
The ones that if I kept them in, De Gea, Davies, and Jota, that would have been 4 points. And with the others, it was 15 minus 4. So, huge difference.
Yeah.
Mainly because of Alonso, but Alonso's there for his returns and for the long haul. So it was a hit worth taking, and it proves that a hit's can be worth it sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it worked out pretty well for you, and I think now that you've got a decent team set up there, I think it was good. So I think just to recap our teams, obviously been up on screen this whole time. It's always a bit difficult to stay at the start of the season because there's such a close base. I mean, I'm like 75,000, maybe 80,000 places behind you, but in reality, that's 5 points. So it's such a small spread at the moment. And I think if you get one good captaincy or one bad captaincy at this stage of the season, don't be too worried by your rank jumping or increasing loads, because it's probably going to take about 10 or 15 game weeks before the ranks sort of filter out a little bit and you start to see the managers who've kept consistently looking at their teams for the first game week. So I think that's probably a good point to move on to our preview section and just talk about the upcoming game week and the fixtures and whatnot. So what we've got on screen are the layouts of our team side by side for this coming game week. We've got the fixtures running across the top of the screen to discuss and take a look. I mean, do you want to start by talking about? Obviously, we've mentioned Walcott. I think it's quite important. We could probably pick up on the captaincy because you've got the little armband on Salah.
It's just because I haven't changed it yet, really.
Trying to trick me.
Yeah, it will go to Aguero. His fixture and that history seems to be great. Too good to pass up. But it might be a trap. So anyone that leaves it on Salah, it might be a good decision. I'm possibly going to play Wan-Bissaka. I probably will play Fraser, and I don't really like benching attackers. Because Alonso can still get 11 points even if he concedes. So, and then Fraser could get an assist.
Yeah.
Whereas Wan-Bissaka could only. It's tough call. I don't really want to double up on the Palace defense. So, yeah.
So
I don't know. Who would you play there? I don't know.
I agree. I think it's a difficult decision based on what we know. Wow, interesting. I don't know if you saw before we came on air, but obviously we're recording this Tuesday night, but Wan-Bissaka is starting tonight for Palace in the League Cup game.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting because obviously I'm guessing Roy's just getting his minutes back up before he puts him back in the Premier League team.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's still an interesting one. I think Kelly's playing as well. I think Ward's playing as well, maybe. I'd have to double check that.
Okay.
But to be honest, I'd probably stick with how you got it. Wan-Bissaka, playing.
Really?
Yeah, and Fraser on the bench. I know what you mean about an attacking player, but I think the factor in the fact that Bournemouth are playing away at Chelsea, statistically, I'd say Wan-Bissaka's got a better chance of getting a clean sheet and attacking return.
Go with the home fixtures.
Yeah, or even an assist. I'd probably stick with how you've got it, to be honest.
Okay.
And I don't think there's any worth in playing like your other subs, Kamara or Billing instead of him. I think you've got the layout right there. It's just where we want to take a risk. I think Fraser's got the potential for I don't know, maybe he doesn't even have a potential for a bigger score. I think Wan-Bissaka does. Playing at home, he got attacking returns in the first game away against Fulham.
Yes, it's one of those flip a coin ones. I think. I'm glad it's on those two rather than Salah or Aguero captain. Yeah. I think it's pretty obvious it's going to be Aguero.
We've got quite fairly similar teams. I think the main area it differentiates is obviously in goal and the striking options. You've got Aubameyang to meet having Arnautovic and Zaha.
Yeah.
So I've already made my transfer that was Richarlison out, Walcott in. Arnautovic, my big question mark. His rating thing has changed from the yellow to the amber, which, as we all know, is dangerous territory. It's one shade away from red, which is bad news. I think if he's... So the options I'm looking at for this week is if Arnautovic is out for 2 to 3 weeks, let's say, because it's the international break after this weekend, so he's going to have some rest. But if he's going to miss maybe like 2 to 3 weeks up to a month of games, I'd make a trade and take a 4-point hit, first one of the season, to get Mitrovic in. And if he's potentially going to be back after the international break, which I think is probably most likely, he'll have like 3 weeks to rest and probably just not play. I'm quite happy to play Jota over him away against West Ham rather than Wan-Bissaka, because I quite fancy, after Wolves' performance against Man City, I think they'll be right up for it. And West Ham, without their key man and all their defensive issues, they seem to play worse at home. I think Jota could be a source of differential for all those people that have given up on him a bit soon.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten rid of him yet because I don't want to take a hit to get rid of him, because I think it's just you're taking a hit to get a player on your bench who costs less, and I don't see the point in that just yet. So I'm happy to lose value on him at the moment while the other players on my team gain value.
Yeah, fair enough. Seems good.
What do you think? If you had Jota and Wan-Bissaka, do you think you'd handle it the same way?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Just second player. West Ham look hopeless defensive wise, and Wolves look, lively attacking wise. So, yeah, I think Jota for sure.
So talking about the captaincy, I was discussing this on Twitter with a few people earlier. I think there's almost a little bit of a template starting to form with some teams, especially in defence, and especially in midfield, obviously with Salah and Walcott. As we were discussing a minute ago, the ranks are still quite close together, aren't they? I think I'm maybe about 15 or 20 points off being in the top 30k. So I'm tempted at this stage of the season, maybe not this weekend, maybe when Aguero plays away against Cardiff, but I'm tempted to triple captain, because I think that, one, I've had some bad experiences using it in double game weeks where players haven't played, and I think if you use it at this stage of the season and you do get a good score, then it's more likely you can be propelled into the top 25k, and I think it's easier to manage a team when you're higher up than it is when you're chasing the pack. I think you have to take less risks. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
So you're not going to do it this weekend?
Well, I'm thinking about it. It's either, I think they play Cardiff in the next couple of games.
Yeah, but it's a different consideration, isn't it? his fixture history in against Newcastle.
Yeah.
He got 5 in 2015, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
If he could do that again and you triple captain him, then you're laughing. But I wouldn't say he's showed that quite 5 goals form yet.
No.
He's had 2 blanks and then a hat trick. That's not exactly consistent. I'd almost be tempted by captain on Aubameyang this week.
Okay. What is something you could do?
Yeah. But Cardiff away, the Arsenal should score a good few in that, and you'd expect him to be involved. He obviously hasn't been yet, but
yeah.
he needs to start scoring, and he probably knows that. So I think he's going to try his hardest for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, anyone thinking about triple captain Aguero, if you get that gut feeling, just go for it, I'd say. The stats are there, the history's there. He's in form, ish in form.
Well, the encouragement to really do it came from the Newcastle game against Chelsea, because if Newcastle sit that far back against Man City are different than Chelsea. They're more direct than Chelsea. They're going to get in and around the box. They're going to have players running behind like Sterling, Sane, Bernardo Silva, and David are just going to be linking balls through. So I'd be more confident in them getting scoring 2-3 plus goals than Chelsea sort of scraping by getting that penalty and the home goal deflection.
Yep. No, I agree with that. Yep. City more attacking for sure.
So is there anything else you want to touch on from your team or I before we wrap up the preview of the game week? Do we want to shout out to any potential clean sheets that we haven't got in our teams? People
just wanted to mention another quick captain.
Okay.
Alonso is someone to look at. If he's going to keep doing 11s and get the clean sheet on top of that, if he gets a 15 or a 16, that captain would be really, really damn good. He's consistent. So if you want I guess he's not a differential, but a different captain. Alonso is one to look at.
Okay.
But yeah, clean sheet. Probably go City, I guess.
Okay.
Newcastle at home. You can't see Newcastle scoring in that. Maybe that's an easy one to go for, but yeah, City. I'm hoping anyway, because they're double City defence have got. So yeah.
Well, I was going to say Burnley at home against United because of how poor United have been, but now Burnley have got that Europa League fixture, so I'm hoping it won't be a clean sheet for Burnley. No, my pick was going to be Palace, because I think they had a great start to the season. They had a really good pre-season. They had a good first game away against Fulham. I thought they played really well against Liverpool and just beaten by a much better team, and they were a bit unlucky at the weekend. So I'm backing them to bounce back like Alan Partridge and get me a great clean sheet. Van Arnold, you'd obviously be happy with that double Palace defence. So
you don't think Ings might sneak a goal?
No, I just think Sacco's just going to maul him.
Yeah, true.
Sacco and Tompkins, if Tompkins is back in.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is Tompkins going to be back in?
If Tompkins is back in, I'd feel more confident. So let's wait and see. But no, for today, and not picking like a top 6 side, I'm gonna go for Palace.
Okay, sounds good.
Good. Right, so I think that about wraps up tonight's show. So I want to say thank you to you, listener and watcher, for joining us. If you've got any questions on your team or a topic you want to hear discussed either on next week's show, or you want to just ask us a direct question, then please comment on the video below or tweet us, and we'll put the link to our Twitter feed in the description. And we'll try and get to as many of your questions as possible, because we just enjoy talking about FPL. And if you haven't seen this, where's my camera? Oh yeah, if you haven't seen that button just there, it says thumbs up and sub. We'd really appreciate you doing that while in the page too, just to make sure you don't miss any future videos. So that's until next week. That's a goodbye from me.
See you and good luck.
See you and good luck. Good words. Yes. Bye bye.